see.
Welcome everybody, my name is Chuck. I'll be helping Scott with this part of the tour. We're standing in front of some of the largest pipes in the organ. The metal pipes behind you are zinc, and this pipe is low C. It is 3,100 pounds. And the speaking length of that is 32 foot. It speaks right here. That's where the whistle is, as he described. And the length of the pipe from that point up determines what the pitch will be. There are 4 levels of organ in this room, and you can look up there. I apologize for Now, here you can get a better idea of how many levels we're dealing with. You can actually see some pipes that are held in place by yellow straps because they're from a chest that we're replacing at this point, and we couldn't physically get them out of the chamber. So, and other than that, beyond that, it gets clean from our clothing and walking past it. As you can see, there's some pretty snug spots. As pipe organs go, this one has a lot of space. It's well designed for. Here. Check out all the wiring.
Yep.
This is one of our new solid-state relay panels. It's controlling this whole side of the organ. When you get over to the main shop, you'll see a piece of cable that was cut out between the console and this room. It's about 5.5 or 6 inches in diameter. All the small 24 gauge wires that had to come to feed this side of the organ. Now it's all done with 2 Cat5 cables, basically 2 computer cables. And technology can be very helpful to us in that stage. And what we've done.
Oh, come on, come on. Thank you.
Out by itself in the middle of an open space and had some pretty heavy pipes on top of it. We restored the mechanics inside the chest, and then the chest decided it was going to split its bottom board. And as much as we tried to repair that, the split just kept transferring. So what we're doing is recreating that entire wind chest and making it out of triple thick marine plywood. You actually may see that being glued together today in the shop. Once that's done, that chamber from floor to ceiling is a full restoration. So we're very happy to be at that point now. So the one thing I'm going to point out here is probably the most heard or the least thought of voice of the organ, and that's the room's natural acoustics. So this was designed so if you had a powerful speaker from center stage and you got 41,000. So again, your organist today is Peter Conti. He's the Grand Court organist at Wanamaker's. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
And he's going to be taking control of the instrument from this console. And again, nothing here creates sound more than sending a signal around the building. So the way this is divided, I know it seems overwhelming. The manuals are geographic locations for the divisions of the organ. So the divisions are groups of pipes grouped together in that tonal family, and they're located in different areas of the building. The choir is the division directly opposite us in that first arch. The grate and solo is the right stage chamber. The swell is the left stage chamber. The fanfare is the ceiling chamber on this side. The echo is the ceiling chamber on this side. And the bombard, or gallery, is a home for the 4 gallery organs. Now that doesn't mean that's where they need to live. The black stop tabs around the organist do what we call coupling. It takes what's on one manual and moves it to another. Now, as if 7 keyboards were not enough, if you've never watched an organist play, they play another keyboard with their feet. As if 8 keyboards were not enough, we actually have 11. The bottom 2 manuals and the pedal board are equipped with what we call second touch. So engaging the first level of touch, that's standard, that's going to give you 1 set of sounds. If you push a little harder, the key dips down about 1/4 of an inch. That gives you access to another contact behind that key, giving you access to a whole new set of sounds. Now, playing across 7 manuals, playing pedal point with your feet, making volume adjustments with the swell shoes. Now you have to tell which members of the orchestra to play. And that's done with the stop tabs around the organist. There are 1,235 of them. That's a little bit like finding a needle in a haystack. So the way that is governed is what we call a combination action. The organist would listen to the organ. When they were happy with the sound, you'd hold in the setter piston here, and that would tell the system downstairs, I'm about to program you. Then by holding one of these other buttons in conjunction with that, that would lock your combination into that piston. Very simply, during the recital, you hit that, 1,235 stop tabs go to their preset location. Now, the system had to be designed intelligently. You couldn't just throw voltage at every single magnet. You'd undervolt the organ, and the organ would stop playing. So the system could monitor 1,235 stop tabs, and it only applied voltage if it was necessary to change the magnet. That makes it a logic gate, and it predates the thesis on computing by 5 years. They didn't think they were developing a computer, but in reality, that's what they achieved. No vacuum tubes, no diodes, no integrated circuits, all pneumatic technology. Unfortunately, it was severed from its connection in 1934 because they ran steam lines through the room and it became extremely unreliable, and it was solved forever in that 1944 hurricane where it was buried under 6 feet of water. I'm happy to say that about 6 weeks ago, we restored combination action to the instrument. So what you're seeing here doesn't seem like a lot, but that makes for the organist, they can make these drastic changes in sound with just the push of a button. It is a complete game changer here for the organist because, again, prior to that, our combination action was the JM 2000. It was James Martin. He would help the organist register while they were playing. But even if he had another 6 or 7 arms, it's not possible to do these types of changes because, again, if you're on one side, you can't reach through the organist to get to the other side. This is really a game changer, and James is still valuable to us because he becomes a living combination action for the organist. If the organist needs to know something, James will say, you know what, we just took this out, that's not going to work, use this instead. Oh, you know what, this got knocked out of tune last night, don't use this instead. So it's very valuable to have him here, learning the instrument and knowing and taking care of these pipes. He does a lot of the restorative work with the pipes themselves. And we don't revoice them, but we simply make sure they all speak together as a chorus. So damage over the years can reduce the ability of the organ to do that, and we're restoring it back to its original location. Any questions so far?
I have a question, Mr.
This one here, that's a stage communication panel. So there was a handset here. The organist would be in contact with the stage manager right, the stage manager left, the lighting panel, the projection booth, the engineers, the dressing room corridors. It was so they could have communication and say, you know what, the star's not ready, give us 5 more minutes of organ music. The organ could also be used for crowd control. They had, when the Beatles were here, again, there is a recording of that. Someone took a reel-to-reel and recorded that. You cannot hear them singing more than just this faint sound in the background with 41,000 screaming teenagers cheering for them. But they couldn't get the Beatles out safely, so what they ended up doing is have the organist go full organ, which we very seldom recommend. It's an amazing wall of sound. She started playing God Save the Queen. It shocked the audience into silence, and that's how they got them out and off to their hotel. So again, that's that type of communication that you need for something that's this much a part of the show technology here. Any other questions? Those are cameras. They used to broadcast our both the. Yes. The ones that I know that have shown interest, when Fish was here back in, don't quote me on this, it was either 2012 or 2013, the instrument was not ready for them. The other one that I really just go nuts about is when Lady Gaga performed here, she wanted to use it and she was told you can't. As we are now running under a completely different administration here, the worst that can happen, the instrument can do what we call cipher, a pipe will stick on. That's the worst that can happen. Set up and regimented, they don't have a lot of time for alteration. but believe me, if someone shows interest, I'm going to leap over the walls in this building to make sure that they can actually get it. Any other? Yes.
Yes, I heard that the console is going to undergo a complete restoration
Yes.
later on. Right?
This is, again, the only point of control for the instrument right now, so we don't want to take this down. However, when we do, by that point, the 5 manual will be restored. You won't have the amount of combinations you can get with this, but you can still control the instrument. So we will restore that first, and then fully restore this console.
Okay.
Now, one more thing, we were talking about the computerized relay system and why we're doing
The organ shop.
shop. This was designed to be the hall's scenic shop. The large steel doors at the other end open right out to the stage house. They envision you building your sets in here and launching it right into the fly system. However, when Midmer arrived to build the instrument, they needed a place to do so. This became the organ shop and has lived as such ever since. Now, inside a pipe organ, you have 3 main materials: wood, metal, and leather. Now, the wood and metal will hold up just the development time. The leather, however, being a skin, does have a life expectancy. Some of what you'll hear today on the concert is still on original leather after 90 years in the side of the organ, but it's a matter of when, not if, that's going to give way. So a lot of the work we do here is taking as much of the organ out from behind the walls of the building, bringing it down here, taking it all apart, cleaning off all the old leather components, applying new leather, reattaching all the mechanical components, testing them on the electrical system, taking it back up behind the walls, and trying to make sure that everything we get down here was right, otherwise you're dangling like a fish on a hook 30 feet in the air. Now, bear in mind, when this was built, there really wasn't anything around it. We now have to navigate through 90 years of lighting, HVAC, plumbing, fire suppression, security systems, telephone systems, internet systems. All that's the Sydney Town Hall, Sydney, Australia. So you're seeing the only one in this hemisphere. If another organ says they have a 64-foot stop, it may not go all the way down to C, or it may be a trick that we play in the organ industry. By capping the pipe, you double its length. This is a true 64-foot open pipe. So the low C goes up 45 feet, and that is mitered 90 degrees out of the hall. And again, that functions at a subharmonic level. You can't hear the pitch. We stop hearing at 20 hertz. This is an 8 hertz tone. Not only that, but we have the ability to create what's called a resultant by playing the low pitch at a pitch a fifth above that. The crossing of the sound waves creates another resultant wave that sounds like a 128-foot pipe, so 4 cycles per second. We call that the tuned earthquake or the building shaker. So again, when the organist is playing, here's the magnet for low E. When they engage that magnet, that fires the primary valve. Now when I hit that, you're going to see the secondary, tertiary, and quaternary valve all move at the same time. This is just running low pressure humidified air up. That's why we're not getting the sound right now. But it's not 33,112 pieces of leather. It's close to 180,000 pieces of leather that are glued down by hand. And really, that's the challenge of this instrument, is doing all that work not only repetitively, but accurately across the entire instrument. As we come around the corner here, take a look straight ahead of you. You're going to see a lit window. That is low C, and that's going to show you the beater arm inside your claustrophobic.
Yep, there it is.
I'm getting there. Just the humidification. So the lower you turn it to
how narrow it is.
All right, for all of you that don't feel uncomfortable climbing a set of stairs here, feel free to follow me. If that makes you feel any bit uncomfortable, head right out here. You'll be back in the shop.
Forming around you. All right, I'm going to be talking as you're walking up here. You're coming up here to the Great Division of the organ. This is only the second level of the chamber. There are still 2 more levels of organ above us, believe it or not. But right here, these are all part of the Great Division. I'm going to show you 2 things before you head on to the next part of your tour. One is our Guinness record holder over there, that row of pipes there. They're kind of brownish with the tongues hanging off the side of them. That is the loudest row of organ pipes in the world. The Guinness book was here in the 30s, and they measured that at about 138 decibels here in the chamber. A fighter jet, if you've been to the air show and saw the Thunderbirds or the Blue Angels, those are about 120 decibels, so that can outblast that jet. And then you heard sort of mentioned we have lots of percussion on this instrument. This is one of them. You can see it functions like a xylophone. It has the bars and the hammers, but it's actually our harp. You can hear it's able to mimic the sound of a harp using metal bars and hammers, so that way you can have the sound of a harp with flutes and strings. We also have many different drums. We have a xylophone, glockenspiel, marimba, 2 sets of chimes, and we even have a 9-foot concert grand piano in one of the chambers. You could literally play a piano concerto with yourself. No sound is off limits. We have all the bells and all the whistles on this instrument.
Okay, let's head upstairs. No, I'm not going to take that. All right, follow me into the relay room.